Welcome to another Sinespace tutorial. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create a moving sit so that you have variety in the animations in your different components. For example, in the Seat Improved component. Now there's some components in Sinespace that don't allow you to use what we call an animator. For example, if you create a gesture, say an emote or a dance, that gesture has to be in the form of an actual animation. If you try to use an animation controller, it won't allow you to drag that into the slot. So you have to use an animation. And if you're trying to adjust an animation or even splice two animations together, you can't do that with the animator blending transitions. You'll need to do that in the animation editor itself. So as you can see in the NPC that I've shown you before in another tutorial, you can't bring the controller in there. You have to choose an actual animation clip. So what I'm going to do today is demonstrate a little bit how to do that in the Seat Improved, but of course it's the animation clip that we're going to work on. Now I've got these two animations in these two other chairs. Okay, I've got one called Arms Resting, which they are. The arms are resting. And in the red leather chair, I've got an animation. Basically, the hand is on the leg. And I've got three animations here, and that's because what I've done is I've duplicated it using two keys from my keyboard, the Control key and the key D as in dog, in quick succession. And I've renamed it, and I call it the Arm Move Sit. And I put that into a white leather chair. I also duplicated from these other chairs, created another material, and basically I've taken out all of the tint color. And so now I have a white leather chair, so I can tell which chair is going to do what. And in the Seat Improved component, I'm going to put my Arm Move Sit animation in there. Right now, the Arm Move Sit and the Arm Rest or the Arm Out Sit is the same thing. Now, before we start to adjust the animation, when you're working with a moving animation, we need to do a setup a little bit differently than if we're going to adjust a sit position that's basically stationary. But even though it's stationary, if you look at it, you can tell something's happening, and that's basically that it's looping. Okay. When we work with an animation that we actually do want to have move, this one here, so the one we're going to work on, we need to do the setup a little bit differently. First thing I'm going to do is click on my assets, and I'm going to type in 2015, because what I need is the 2015 avatar, and I'm going to use the 2015 male avatar. Okay. I'm going to rotate him, basically kind of put him in position to sit in this chair. Doesn't have to be exact, but it should give you kind of an idea. All right. Then I go to my furniture samples that I'm using for all of these tutorials, and I'm going to go down here into the animations folder. And then I'm going to click on the male avatar, go up to Game Object, and break the prefab instance. And I'm going to rename him so I remember what he is. And he is going to be the 2015 sits male. And I'm also going to drag him down here towards the bottom so that he's next to all of my chairs. Okay, so I'm working on the white chair and the white chair animation, so that's what I'm going to use him for. All right. Now, in the male avatar, if you scroll down to the components, you'll notice that he has an animator. So this allows us to bring in an animator controller. So I'm going to go back over here to my animations folder. I'm going to right click and I'm going to create. I'm going to go down to animator controller. I don't want an override controller for this. I just want a controller. And I'm going to call this my sits. I'm just going to call this my sits. Okay. You can call it anything you want to. Click on that, and what happens is if you click up here to the animator tab now, which you can find here in Window Animator, and which you can put anywhere. You can put it next to your asset store, down here next to animation, wherever you want to put it. I'm just going to put it up here because then I can see it more clearly. Okay, now I am in my sits controller, and I'm going to find the animation that I want to work on. That's my arm move sit. You'll see why I call it that in a minute. And I'm going to pull that animation up into my animation controller. Okay, and then if you look, here's the animation. Loop time, everything else is the way I found it. So now I have the animation in the animator. Now I can go back to the hierarchy. I click on the 2015 sits male, and I take this sits animator, and I'm going to bring it over here and put it in the animator controller slot. Now we're going to go to our animation itself. This is our arm move animation. Go to the animation and make sure that you have all of these highlighted. Make sure that your avatar is highlighted. These buttons should also be black and not gray. If they're grayed out, then go up here and click on your avatar again. Okay, then click play and you'll see him sit down. And you'll see your loop go a little bit wild. Okay, that is what it should do. He's not going to sit in the chair, and we're not going to worry about him sitting in the chair, because actually, as long as he's sitting in the correct animation, once we put the animation in the seat improved component, then he will sit properly. So once again, we're going to click on the avatar and we're going to click play, and he'll go into the position. So he is in fact sitting properly on the surface, but he's not necessarily sitting in the chair yet. He will be. Let's just give him a moment. All right, so here we are in our animation editor, and we see once again all of these intimidating properties. Now there's a few things to keep in mind. The first keyframe, remember all of these keys make a keyframe, and the last keyframe need to be exactly the same key positions. So in the other tutorial where I showed you how to do a minor adjustments to your static poses, every time we finished with the beginning keyframe where this white line is, we always copied and pasted into the last keyframe. This is what makes it loop. For this particular animation though, we're going to make some room in between, because right now we only have a 0 keyframe, which is the beginning, and a 1 keyframe, which is the end. So if you highlight all of these keys and you grab the very top key, that's the parent key of the keyframe, we're going to pull that over. I'm going to pull it over a couple more times. Even though it's out of sight, it is still moving. And then go down here to this bar and grab the end and pull it over here, and you'll see. And then if you hit the end key, you'll see that you now have 5 keyframes. Well, I'm going to make myself, let's make 12. Okay. We're going to go over to 12. Let's see if I'm at 12 yet. Here we go. There, I am now on 12. So now the beginning and the end are in the same exact position. And what we're going to do is create some movement in between so that we get that arm movement that we saw at the beginning of this tutorial. And it's really quite easy. Let's start at the beginning. This white line, remember, wherever it is where is the location where the keys are going to be edited or created. So we're going to move over to keyframe. Let's move over to keyframe 3. Okay. So in keyframe 3, we're going to work on this left arm this time. Instead of the right arm, we're going to work on the left arm. And we're only going to work with a few properties. Your first keyframe and your last keyframe will have keys for every property, basically every muscle on the skeleton. The ones that you change in the middle, you don't have to change every one of these keys. Just change the ones that you're going to show a change for. For example, we're going to take this arm, move him down here a little bit so I can see his arm, and we're going to take the forearm stretch, and let's say we're going to move it up a little bit. Oh, maybe right there. And then we're going to take the forearm twist, and we're going to twist it like so. Maybe a little bit less. And let's say we're going to bring it up just a little bit more. And now the hand is going to go, let's bring it up. Actually, let's bring it down a little bit. Now you can change the fingers if you want to. Let's say we're going to just pull this, the pinky finger and the ring finger a little bit closer together. So we go to the little finger spread. This is what draws it a little bit closer together. Go to the ring finger spread. Draw it a little closer together. You can curl the fingers with these there's 3 joints in each finger, and you can do that if you want to as well. But I think this is enough for my movement to this particular keyframe 3. So let's play that and see how it looks. Well, he looks like he's having a little bit of a spasm. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the samples right here. You can either slow down or speed up your animation one of 2 ways. You can add more keyframes, and we might do that, but you can also lower the number of samples. So let's lower this down to 15 and see what happens, and just hit enter and then play it. And you can see he's still spasming, but he's spasming a little more slowly. Okay. So let's leave that alone for a moment, and we're going to add another motion. Let's say we're going to add, let's go back to the beginning, click on that keyframe, it comes up where we are, and that's keyframe 3. Let's go to keyframe 5. Why not? Now, you can see that as I moved, the arm started to go back down because he's moving back down to the end position. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on all of keyframe 3 because I want to move from this position. And I'm going to go up to copy. And then I'm going to move my white line to 5. Remember, wherever the white line is where it's going to paste into. And now I have the same motion between these two. In fact, this is a good thing to do if you want to hold a particular pose in between movements. Now we're going to go down here, back to the forearm stretch, and let's see, let's move it down slightly. Oops. And let's go to forearm twist. And we'll just do that just a little bit. Hand down, O. Let's leave him right there. That's enough. Okay, so we get a little bit of movement. You can see. And then, of course, the next movement is the end. So that's where the arm will go. Okay? But we want one more movement just for fun. So here we are. Our white line is over the keys on keyframe 5. So once again, we're going to copy this one. And we're going to go to, let's go to keyframe 7. And up to paste. And we're going to go to our forearm stretch, and I think we're going to leave that alone. Twist we're going to leave alone. Hand we're going to go out like so, and let's see how that looks. Okay, that looks okay. I think we're going to slow this down a little bit more. So we're going to put in 8 samples. And I'm going to do one thing that you will find is very helpful after you do a motion. If you want to hold part of the pose for a while, then basically at the end, I'm going to hold the end pose for a little while before he starts going into his motion again. So now I'm going to go up and I'm going to copy the end position, and I'm going to move my white line back to keyframe 9, and I'm going to paste it there. And so now when I play it, he waves his arm, basically waves the waiter away, and then holds this for a while. If you want him to hold this for a little bit longer, then take the last keyframe, move it over one more. Now you have, let's see how many we have. We have 13. Let's go to 14 because I like even numbers. I don't know why, but I do. Okay, so now if we play it, and he holds it a little while longer. It's a little bit fast, so let's go to 6 samples and play again. And you can speed it up and slow it down using these number of samples or increasing the number of keyframes. Okay, now looks pretty good. That's basically all there is to it. If you're just editing your animation, be sure to save your scene, and then Make sure that this is the arm move sit. It is the in your chair sit position. Yes, it's the arm move sit. And you can test it if you want to by going into your game, your play mode. But it really should work. And once again, upload, make your prefab and upload, and there's your arm move sit. Okay, I hope this has helped you work on your animations a little bit. That's all for now, and we'll see you later.